Hey guys, this is Kevin aka K-Man1 coming at you with a new video. Right now I'm just doing some abyss rune crafting, grinding up money for a couple bonds, and I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about the future of this account. As I've stated before, this is not my main account. My main is currently at about 2,200 total. I don't remember exactly offhand. I can record a clip and show it on screen if it's important to you to see that. But it is not a maxed main, and I have never had a maxed main. I've never maxed on an account. I've only ever had 199 in RuneScape, and that was mining in old school RuneScape. So, you might be thinking, since I've invested so much time and energy into this account already, it would be kind of silly to abandon it right after I showed the sort of self-sufficiency, which has kind of been the purpose of the series up to this point. Show you how to build a good account. And ultimately, I want for this account to replace my main. There's nothing wrong with my main account. It's not like I broke it in some way. The good thing about RuneScape is that if you spec badly, there's no real penalty. Like you'll always be able to recover your account, train up another skill, and minor efficiency hiccups notwithstanding, there's no real worries about maybe not having the best setup, quote unquote. But the reason I want to go with this new main is because I do want my goal to be maxing. But until then, I want to take the steps that I believe are the biggest things that separate an alt account, which is what this currently is, and a main account, which for RS3, the version of the game that I'm playing right now, I believe the two biggest things that separate alt accounts from main accounts are access to Prifddinas, which you get from the Plague's End quest. It is a really big hub city that high-level players hang out in, and it's got a lot of various stuff that you have access to through the city that is beneficial to your account. And the other main thing is the invention skill. If you look at it, you can see that it requires level 80 in smithing, crafting, and divination in order to unlock the skill. It is a very useful skill that you can use to essentially upgrade your weapons and armor, is the biggest use of it. And having it is, in my opinion, one of the big differences between an alt account and a main account. I know there are plenty of alt accounts that have invention unlocked, but for the purposes of what I'm trying to explain here, I would say that those are the big differences. And I'm going to throw a third one in there, but this one is definitely more debatable. I'm going to say that the recipe for Disaster Quest. It's a very iconic quest. It was the 100th quest introduced to RuneScape. It is a sequel to the Cook's Assistant quest, which you might be thinking, that's just a silly thing where you help a guy bake a cake. But Recipe for Disaster is a very interesting quest, to say the least. But it's a very iconic quest, and it gives you really good rewards overall, a lot of good experience, like 1 billion treasure hunter keys because each subquest counts as a quest complete for treasure hunter keys. And it gives you access to the Barrow's gloves, or the Culinarimancer's gloves 10, which I'll call Barrow's gloves from now on. And they are not by any means the best gloves in the game, but they are really good, non-degradable hybrid gloves, which is a valuable thing for some scenarios like bosses that use multiple different attack styles. Anything where you might be using multiple attack styles, it's also beneficial because it reduces the amount of switches that you have to make when changing your gear setup. And it's not a very high-leveled quest as compared to what's available in the modern game, but I am personally going to consider it one of the benchmarks for this transitioning from an alt account to a main account. So with that in mind, those are the three biggest goals I'm going to be working towards in the near future. Long-term goals, maxing, obviously. Quest Cape, another good thing to throw in there. I might go for comp, but I would say it's pretty unlikely that I'm going to go for comp. So don't look forward to that anytime soon. That'll be years in the future, most likely, if I ever decide to go for it. So, those are the, as I said, the biggest goals I'm going to be working towards. Recipe for Disaster, Plague's End for access to Prifddinas, and the Invention skill. It shouldn't take me too terribly long to unlock all of those things, and I'm going to keep expanding the goals that I'm aiming for over the course of this account. But for now, I think if I want this to be my new main, those are a good few first steps to take towards making that happen. For now, I'm going to focus on grinding up money for bonds because I do still want that summer special. That hasn't been tossed to the wayside by any stretch of the imagination. But in terms of the content of the videos, that's what you have to look forward to. I might rename the series because Self-Sufficient Scape doesn't really make sense as a name for the series in its current state, because I'm self-sufficient already. But I don't feel like renaming the series or restarting it, so I think I'm just going to stick with that title for now. If I decide that I want to change, then I'll make that change. Anyways, I'm sorry that I've been rambling forever, pretty much, but that's kind of where I'm at in my thought process right now, and I hope you can understand. Those aren't my only goals also by any stretch of the imagination. Like, I want to access the Lunar Spellbook, I want to finish up a bunch of other quests that unlock you really good rewards or different areas, and I obviously want to train up my skills. That's what RuneScape's all about, the skilling grind. But in terms of trying to kind of tie everything together, create some cohesion, that's really what I'm looking towards at the moment. I don't know what else this video is going to contain, because I've got pretty much a whole week to add more clips to it to get myself to that hashtag 10 minutes. But yeah, look forward to content in the future as I transition this from an alt to a main. I was rambling pretty incessantly when I was recording this particular clip. So in summary, in order to unlock Invention, I need to train Divination. And one good thing that you should do when starting to train the Divination skill is go to this place called the Memorial to Guthix. You can use memory strands, which are an item used that you unlock through Divination. And basically the way it works is you get these items called engrams, and you charge them with memory strands and divine energy, and when you offer them to the memorial, then you'll get additional bonuses. The lowest level one, you get what are called Guthixian butterflies, which spawn while you're training Divination, and other tiers of prestige is what it's called, will confer other bonuses. I'll include a link in the description to a much more cohesive guide than I could ever provide, but this is one thing that is good to work on while training Divination. I'm finishing up the Guild of Our Own caper for the Thieves Guild, and the reason I'm doing this is because I need something to AFK while I'm doing homework, and everybody seems to absolutely love the safecracking update, and in order to do safecracking, you have to finish up the Thieves Guild caper line quest line thingy. So I'm finally done with this. I'm going to go through the safecracking tutorial, and I will come back and show you how much I like safecracking, I guess, if I do it for a significant enough amount of time to feel like I have a real opinion. I've been doing safecracking for about an hour. This is not my first inventory that I've turned in, but I have to say, it is really great experience, but it is not as AFK as I would have liked. It can be AFK'd, but it's a variable interval of AFKing. It's not like fletching where you know that you're gonna have at least like 45-50 seconds of AFK between actions. So in terms of being able to do it while I'm doing homework or working on editing a video or something, it's just not practical. It's really great experience. It makes thieving a lot less of a pain. Thieving is probably my second least favorite skill, right after agility, obviously. So, good stuff. I'm not going to complain. I have enough pilfer points. I'm going to keep chucking all of my rewards into pilfer points until I can unlock everything, and then I'll see about using these, but I've heard that they're pretty lackluster. I mean, the Thief Guild teleports are useful for the purposes of safe cracking, so you don't have to constantly teleport back to Lumbridge and then run over. So I'll probably keep at this for a little bit longer. It's possible that the higher tier safes are more AFKable. I'm not entirely sure. Again, this is the first time I've ever done it, but overall, I'm pretty impressed with this update. I know it's not a couple months, but it's about a month old at this point. Sorry for that. So I finished up another round of safe cracking, this time with the Caridian Desert chests, because I unlocked them with my current thieving level. And it's better, but it's still not as AFKable as I might like. Something I should also mention, because it just came up here too, is that when you hit level 70 in a few different skills, specifically thieving, divination, mining, fishing, and there was another one. I forget what it is off the top of my head, but I'll pop it up on screen. You unlock the ability to gather fragments, which you can use to make elite skilling outfits. RuneScape is not RuneScape. Rune crafting is my most developed one so far. Mining, rune crafting, fishing, thieving, and divination. You can use these fragments to make elite skilling outfit pieces, which is something that you unlock through the invention skill, which I don't have access to. Fortunately, you can keep gathering them even if you don't have access to invention, but you can't use them until you have level 20 invention. So I'll get to it when I get to it, but I figure I might as well point out the fact that I am passively gathering those. However, for my current purposes, I think I want to stick to something that's a little bit more traditionally AFKable, just for my purposes. I mentioned when I got the goldsmithing gauntlets the fact that it's a pretty decent lower leveled smithing training method, and specifically for my purposes, it gives over a full minute of AFK, which is great for when I'm doing homework. I'll be able to just put this on in the background and work on whatever I need to work on. I have enough gold bars to get me to level 70 when I'm going to use the protean bars that I have. The reason that I'm waiting until that level is because they essentially scale with the materials you would normally be able to use, and so at level 70 they work as adamant bars, which is really, really good, and it's worth it to me to go ahead and wait until I can do that, instead of taking worse experience through basically mithril bars with my proteans. And unfortunately, this method caps at about 80,000 XP per hour, but it's fine. Again, I have plenty of homework to be working on, so just having something to AFK in the background is exactly what I need right now. But this also contributes to my invention goal coming up in the near future, and I'm pretty sure 75 smithing is a requirement for Prifdinus, so I'm basically ticking off a bunch of boxes here by doing this. I think it's the best path for me currently, and once I get to a higher level, I'll probably move to quicker experience methods. I'll have to decide once I get to that point. Anyways, I think I'm going to go ahead and call it here. I know that this has been a lot of talking about future goals, but that's where I'm at right now, and things are going to slow down in terms of progress, but hopefully not too much to the point that I won't be able to put out some consistent content for you guys. Anyways, all that said, I want to thank you very much for watching this episode, and I hope I see you in the next one.